Hi, my name is Carla Hartley. I am the managing partner for Hartley Law Group, a multi-state law firm with attorneys licensed in both California and Texas, and some attorneys have dual licenses in both states. Today I'm going to be talking about problems we see affecting seniors in our family and probate courts. Please watch the video to come, and if you find it helpful, please like and share this video. This is important information your seniors need to know. Today we're going to be discussing problems that we at our firm see with seniors, especially when the economy turns down. I'm going to be giving you a brief primer before I get into this on the difference in terminology between different states. Let's start with the difference in how we treat children in terms of the legal terminology between Texas and California. And doubtless your state lines up with either Texas or California. So in California, in the family law courts, custody of a child is when you have the care and control of the child. Well, in Texas, custody is not referred to for children. It seems that in Texas, custody is a term reserved for people who are of the criminal class. So in Texas, when you are talking about an order for the care and control of a child, you're talking about the legal term conservatorship. This gets confusing, and I'm going to explain why. In California, a conservatorship is when you have a care and custody order or a care and control order for an adult over age 18. In Texas, a care and control order for an adult over age 18 is called a guardianship. So both states, all the states, are dealing with the same problems, but we have different legal terminology. So I wanted to give you that little primer before I go forward with our discussion of care and control orders regarding primarily adults. My first conservatorship case with an elder abuse restraining order, and it was a dual case with both an elder abuse restraining order and a conservatorship, came to me shortly after I opened my doors and opened my practice. It came in on a referral, as a local probate attorney did not want to be involved in what he termed a custody fight. That was my first exposure to problems unique to senior citizens in my line of work, and we have been working in that area ever since. We never really advertised for these clients. We got them by referral from other attorneys, and we slowly built a reputation for this work. We see several types of cases involving seniors, and we see a kick up in these cases whenever the economy turns bad. So, the first I'm going to discuss is instances where a grandparent or a great aunt or uncle finds themselves needing authority to take over the care and control of a child. As I said before, in California, these are guardianships or grandparent custody visitation cases. In Texas, these cases are termed conservatorships for the minor child. We also see instances where a senior is getting a divorce. These require special treatment because in these cases, the primary earning years of the parties are well past them, and we need to ensure that our clients are going to be financially okay. Then we have instances where a senior client finds they don't want a divorce, but they're looking for a way to protect their assets and income streams because their spouse has begun behaving irrationally or has developed cognitive issues. Often we will provide the client with information on the effects of divorce, as well as information on the effects of gaining authority to take over care and control of their adult loved one. Again, in California and some other states, these are called conservatorships, but in Texas and many other states, these are called guardianships. Finally, I'm going to discuss instances where a relative is increasingly concerned about the health and welfare of a senior relative, sometimes a senior friend, who they believe is being victimized. This can be physical abuse or financial abuse, can be done by a relative, done by a caregiver. The remedies can be really varied. We try to give our clients, who in these cases are often the concerned relative, sometimes the senior victim, as wide an array of choice of remedy as possible. This can range from merely an elder abuse restraining order to orders for the care and control of the abused elder and their finances. Again, in California, these care and control orders are called conservatorships when referring to adults. In Texas, when referring to adults, these are called guardianships. This topic is necessary to educate people as to different remedies available, and it is timely. In the economic crisis of 2008, 2009, we saw a lot of elder abuse. Sometimes the abuse was so extreme the elder needed a temporary care and control order, but as they received treatment and were removed from the abusive situation, they recovered enough to terminate the care and control order. This was particularly common in instances where a younger relative or a caretaker had started taking the senior's drugs and not giving the prescribed medication to the senior who needed it. This can create dire consequences for the affected senior, and you've got to get the care and control order in order to pry them away from the person who has gained enough control without authority to be taking their drugs, leaving them lying in their own waste in a bed and developing sores. This is an important area of law. It's an area of law to which we are committed. We're seeing parents incapable of caring for their children and leaving those children with older relatives. We're seeing senior divorces. We're seeing an increase in elder abuse, both financial, physical. We're seeing a massive wave of cognitive decline in seniors, which is affecting marriages, and it's also affecting singles and their ability to manage their finances. Your best remedy, your best way to prevent this is to stay in touch with the seniors in your life. Call them regularly, visit them regularly, and if someone is isolating them, someone gets into their home, starts isolating them, starts managing their finances in any way, get more involved with your senior. It requires effort, but these people have lived long and good lives, and they deserve some loyalty from the relatives and the people in their community and their families. We are seeing a drastic uptick in all of these cases involving seniors in our community. We're seeing parents incapable of caring for their children and leaving those children with older relatives. We're seeing senior divorces. We're seeing an increase in elder abuse, both financial and physical, and we're seeing a massive wave of cognitive decline in seniors, which is affecting marriages and also affecting their ability to manage their finances. An example of a case involving senior divorce where there's cognitive decline, I'm going to go back far back in time so that I'm not discussing anything specific or current. This was a very early case in my career, and in that case, we had a husband who was really decompensating. He was hiding cash all over his house, in his vehicle. He was donating large sums to strangers, and he was writing checks to any and all charities that called. Any scam that called on the phone, he was getting out his credit card. So the wife was thinking she needed to get a divorce. The care and control order ended up being the route that she took. Now, because we had filed the divorce proceeding for her, she was preempted from going ahead and being the conservator, or because this was California, she was preempted from being the conservator in this proceeding, because once you file for the divorce, you kind of have a conflict if you're trying to maintain care and custody and control of the other spouse and their estate. So in that case, one of the children came forward, and it was an adult child, of course, and applied for the conservatorship. As time passed, the temporary conservatorship was granted, the permanent conservatorship was granted, and the divorce was dismissed because that divorce was a fundamental misstep. The reason I'm talking about this now, that happened when I was a very young attorney and did not know all of the options that are available. I think that's one of the reasons for doing this video, is to tell you, you need an attorney who is experienced in all of these areas and all of these remedies, not someone who's going to see everything as a nail, so I'm going to use a hammer. Everything is a screw, so we're going to use a screwdriver. No, you shift back and forth between the two. And sometimes you're shifting back and forth between a lot more than just two tools. The law has many tools, and we have many ways to protect our seniors. You need to contact an attorney who is knowledgeable not just in one area of the law that affects seniors, but in all of these areas. On this issue of the seniors who are looking at a divorce, disrupting the community estate with divorce as a means of protecting your share of the estate is sometimes the best option. But often we can preserve the estate by seeking care and control orders of the spouse who is in cognitive decline. A great deal depends on the specific facts of each case. You're going to need to contact an attorney who is knowledgeable in all these areas, not just one or the other, who practices in your state and hopefully in your community. One example, which we recently resolved, is a circumstance that was deeply disturbing. We had a friend, an older friend, bring in an older woman who had moved a young relative into her home. And over time, this young relative had managed to ingratiate herself and convinced her that refinancing the house to get a different interest rate was in her best interests. And when the senior agreed to do this, the young woman called the finance company, pretended to be the senior, and said, "Yes, I want to put this young woman's name on my title." So when the paperwork came out from the mobile notary, all of this was in order, and the senior just signed off on everything, thinking this was being done according to her wishes. We had to jump through hoops to get this undone. And this sort of thing often requires a jury trial. We were able to short circuit the jury trial and save our client some money, get her house back. But in this case, if it had not been for that caring friend who then contacted caring relatives, this woman would have lost everything, and she would have lost it to a predatory younger relative. That's one example of the kind of behavior that you need to be looking out for. So, how do you protect the seniors in your community from some of this stuff? Well, it's not going to apply to all the cases we discussed. If you're looking at a divorce or looking at a care and control order for your spouse because your spouse is in cognitive decline, that's going to be a different issue. But for the rest of you, if you have seniors in your lives, parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, next door neighbors, give them a call. Give them a call regularly. Stop by and see how they're doing. Know what's going on in their lives and just be alert. Be very alert. If someone moves into their home, starts controlling their finances, and here's a big danger sign. Somebody moves in and starts isolating them from people who have been regularly communicating with them. Now we know there's a problem. So that is the point at which, if you don't have anybody else you can call Adult Protective Services or the equivalent in your community. I think we owe our seniors a debt of gratitude for the world they created for us. And I think that this is a population that is not inclined to reach for help. So it's upon the community to look around, on the family, the children, the relatives, to look around and make sure we stay in touch with our seniors. It protects them, and in the long term, it makes all our lives richer. My name is Carla Hartley. I hope this has been helpful to you, and I hope that you will give your senior a call today.